Riding bumps. When we start getting off of the beginner hill and getting into more blue terrain, we're going to encounter trails that haven't been groomed and they might have little bumps on them. Bumps occur on trails that have been groomed all the time because people start to turn in the same spot, and they occur especially when the slopes start to get steeper. So we really want to learn how to ride bumps because we're going to encounter trails that aren't perfectly flat and groomed all the time. We need to be able to learn how to turn on bumps in case we're riding and all of a sudden the trail's full of bumps and there's no way to get down but to go through these bumps. Moguls and bumps are ridden differently for snowboarders than skiers. Skiers can turn edge to edge quicker because their skis are thinner. A snowboard's a lot thicker or wider. So we like to turn more on the top of the bump or on the bottom third of the bump. So the top third or the bottom third of the bump. Now down in the bump, it's more like a trench, and that really gets rutted out and becomes more icy. And our boards, like I said, are a lot wider than a ski. So our boards might not even fit in that trench. So if you can avoid turning in the trenches and try to turn on the top third or bottom third of the bump. I like to take students out on trails that have some groomer on one side and then bumps on the other so that they can go into the bumps a little bit, but then if they don't like the bumps, they can get back out. As I'm riding through bumps, I move fore and aft on my board. As I come over to some bumps, I like to first try to go to the bumps and not just start making turns, S-turns down the bumps, but I'll actually go over 4 or 5 bumps so that I can absorb. And I use my leg absorption independently. So as I'm coming up to a bump, my front foot I want to unweight and put more aft pressure on my back foot so that my leg is really able to absorb that. So I come up to a bump and I put a little bit more aft pressure. My front foot comes over and I'm absorbing it. And then as I'm coming over with my back foot, I put more fore pressure on my front foot and unweight my back foot so that I can absorb it with my back foot. So as I'm coming over these bumps, it's not all at once, it's independent. So my front foot and then my back foot. A good analogy for absorbing bumps are shocks. And really big shocks are on those monster trucks. So you can see them really absorb the jumps and the cars as they crush them. You can see how much their shocks are moving. And one tire might hit a bump and the other one's flatter. So that's just like with snowboarding. You want to use independent leg absorption. So a good drill to start when we're learning bumps is to go across the bumps and to lean fore and aft so that I can absorb through these bumps. And then after I do that both on toeside and then across on heelside, I'm going to start maybe doing some turns, S-turns down the bumps, but I don't have to make a turn in the trenches, so I might go over a bump or two and then make my turn on the top of the bump or on the bottom third of the bump, go over a couple more, and then as I get better and better, I can make smaller, tighter turns, but I'm usually going to be absorbing a few times and then making a turn. Bumps can be really fun. But if you don't like them, you will maybe want to avoid them. But you really should learn how to ride bumps because bumps and little variations in the trail occur all the time. And sometimes you would think that bumps aren't supposed to be on this trail, but because of the conditions, there's all these bumps that have occurred, and I have to get down this trail because there's no way around it. It's a really good idea to learn how to ride these bumps, practice it a lot. I've talked about where to turn on the bumps, how to go across, absorb the bumps, fore and aft pressure, and that way you can become a better snowboarder and ride the whole mountain.